What's going on, family? So we're here, my hometown, Nashville. Now, I got a little something I want to talk to you all about. So you've heard a lot of my story, but I want to really bring you into what's been going on in my life. A lot of you all have been wondering, number one, how exactly this whole thing play out, including the weight gain, right? Tay, you're getting a little fat. I want to talk about that. I want to talk about all of the great things. The reason why I want to talk about this is because a lot of you are going through some of the same stuff. And I personally think that I can use my, if you will, downfall to help teach a lot of you all how to get through it. Me personally, I like to, I'm an emotional eater, but I also like to spend money to make me feel better, to make me comfort myself. Exhibit A. I like cars. But no, throughout this process, it's been great because I found myself, I've learned a lot more. And there's nothing like going through a divorce, because I actually had a person tell me, congratulations, you're going through a divorce. You now know what you actually are and what you want out of life. And I thought it was crazy, right? I thought it was crazy until I played through the divorce and I went through everything. I paid her money. I guess you could say, left feeling a lot better. And not because, she was super horrible, but because I actually know who I am. I know why things happened, and we're good friends. We're still friends. My ex and I, we're cool, right? So, other than that, life has continued. Things have gone along. And not only did I find myself, I actually think I found somebody pretty interesting that's been in front of my fucking face the whole time, right? And as far as I'm concerned, it's been divine. I don't know how this thing even played out the way it did. You're not gonna believe it either, but I wanna tell you that story. Let's go upstairs. All right, so this is another spot that we got. Reason why we got this and the other places we have, so we have a place in Miami, a place in Puerto Rico where we actually live, and now a place here in my hometown, Nashville. The reason why we did that is because, number one, hotels are expensive. Number two, I travel with a team. I have my camera guy, my chef, my security team. We actually need a place for the team to be able to stay. So throughout this building, we have places for them to stay. So it's a lot easier than booking a bunch of hotels, right? So that's a hack for all my business owners. It's a big hack. Take that one, get you the spot, all right? Let's get it. All right, family. So this right here, this is what I want to talk about. This has got a story behind it. So you'll really get to understand this beautiful woman you've been seeing in all my videos. Who the hell is she, right? You're gonna get the real backstory behind this picture right here. Let's go get the queen. Probably somewhere in here working. Sure do.
Our favorite.
All right, family. So this picture, this is me when I was a baby. I want to start not as close back to that picture, but I want to take you on a journey to how, I first met this beauty right here. Right? 15, I was 15. She was her age, you don't tell a woman's age.
I was 16.
I knew she wanted to say that. It's all good. But yeah, my little cougar. We met at my first job. AJ Wright is where we were working. For those of you who don't know, it's kind of like a TJ Maxx. It was part of the TJ Maxx brand.
It was the urban TJ Maxx.
Yes.
Yes.
Super urban. So, I worked there for a while. We got really cool, really good friends, but just nothing more than that. We were just really cool. I was the fat kid. She was the tall, beautiful girl, right? That was just kind of how it was. And we just stayed there, right? And it was the three amigos. It was myself, you all met my brother pretty much, Ed, and of course, Miss Queen Fee.
That's right. That's right. But you're leaving out grandma.
That's right. So
Yes.
my grandma came in maybe a few months after I started working there. So I got my boy on. So Ed came in. Then my grandma a few months after Ed came to work as well. It's just kind of like a little, just a little job for her to work and, stay busy. She was pretty much retired at that time. So all four of us now are working there. We're really cool. We would take lunches together, things like that. But just super cool. We all understood each other because we all came pretty much from the same area. It was like a little family inside of the workplace, So fast forward, let me just say this. The little fat kid always liked the tall, beautiful woman, right?
I did not know this.
She didn't know.
I
She
didn't
didn't
know
know.
this.
I wasn't ready yet. I always tell her, I said, look, and I'm going to say this for any younger men watching, right? Any younger men watching, you got to be honest with yourself. The woman that you actually want, you got to ask yourself, can you even take care of her? Right? Can you take care of her? Are you ready for her? And at 16, I knew I wasn't ready for a woman, like, period, honestly. But even as that being said, like, I wanted to make sure I had my shit together before I even dated, period. So I wasn't in a real relationship until like 22. And even then I was still working on getting my stuff together. So it wasn't like as serious until I did get my stuff together. So that's a quick tip that I always want to tell my younger guys. Focus on yourself first. Learn what you want. Learn where you're, needing to go. Because no woman wants a broke, one, and two, an indecisive ass man. If you're indecisive about what you want to be, and two, you broke, or you don't have your stuff together, it's not going to work. Especially something that look like this. I'm going to just be honest with you, right? Because all the other men who got their shit together going to be taking shots at her. Because they're going to look at you and go, I think I can take her from you. That's just how we all think like that. We all think like that, all right? So get your shit together. Anyway, so, we go through, there was a little crush there, but I never said anything. We were friends, and we kept it that way. She goes off to college. I, kind of do my little thing. I'm going around, personal trainer. I'm trying to figure it out because I wasn't a fan of college. But while she's in college, we kept, kind of kept up. Wasn't anything serious. It was just kind of like a check-in, like, oh, hey, how's college going? It's great. Cool. See you in 2 years type of thing, right? It wasn't anything crazy. But I say this because for me, I kind of remembered the whole journey. And for her, she doesn't remember some of the things.
I don't.
She doesn't remember some of the things.
I don't. He claims there was some in-between encounters from when we worked together at 15 and 16 between us being 30-something, and I don't remember.
Yeah, it was there. And it wasn't anything crazy. It was just friendly stuff, Before I had gotten in a relationship in my early 20s, I had saw her at a party in Knoxville, which is 3 hours. For those of you who don't know, 3 hours away from Nashville. I saw her at a party, and I'm not gonna lie. Now I kind of got my stuff together, personal training going a little good. I'm driving a nice little car, at least what I thought was a nice car. Nothing compared to what I have now. But so I'm feeling myself. So I see her up there, but she has a guy, right? She got a boyfriend. And remember earlier, fellas, I told you that other men will size you up and look and say, I think I can take her from you. I was kind of thinking that, right? I'll be honest. I was kind of thinking that, but I'm a gentleman. And we spoke and, we went from there. So that was what I remember. And I could tell her literally from everything was going on. Like I knew what, graduate program she was in when she was going to get a master's degree. I knew where she was going to get her master's degree. I knew everything. So when I brought it back up 10 years later, she's like, wow, like all of that stuff is true, but I don't remember it.
I thought he was lying. Blame it on the alcohol.
There you go.
20s was a good decade.
Silly. So yeah, the years go by. She gets in a relationship, I get in a relationship. Respectful. Nothing crazy. As a matter of fact, I think it was like a 6-year period. I didn't even talk. We didn't even like talk to each other. It was
Yeah,
just
we had our own
yeah.
long-term situations that we were in. So, boundaries, of course, were very respectful. And we just wanted to, again, just check in like, hey, hope you're doing well. Looks like you're doing very well. Keep it up. Love what you got going on.
Yep.
It's pretty much the extent of our communication.
Yep, that was it. So for like 10 years, I didn't see her. Like, as a matter of fact, I can't leave this part out. I was 5'8", maybe, when I first met her, right? So I was like 5'8", like 320 pounds, right? And hence the fat boy genetics. I know I always tell you, like, I can get fat real easy, right? Real easy. So, when I start eating, hence what I've been going through with the whole, I can put on a little weight. I'm nowhere near 300 pounds. But when I was 5'8", I was 320 pounds. And she was still like 5'10", 5'11".
Yeah, I was 6'1" in kindergarten. I had my growth spurt early.
Right.
So yes, when I worked with Ed and Tay, those are my babies. They were a year younger than me. They had not hit their growth spurt yet as young males. And yeah, my chubby short friend over here. Yeah.
So yeah, I had not seen her. Let her tell it. I had not seen her since essentially then. Even though in Knoxville we kind of had a quick, she didn't remember that. Because by that time I had grown a little bit. So anyway, fast forward. We had not seen each other for about 10 years. And, my divorce is final. I go through everything. And I wanted to ask her some information just about, so I'm a shareholder in an insurance company. She worked in tech, right? She worked in tech.
Yeah, I worked in
insurance tech,
yeah,
if you will.
So I knew all about insurance, all about technology. Asked me all the things.
Right? So I was like, hey, I've been keeping up with what you were doing, over the years, and I know you work in insurance tech. I need to ask you some stuff about, So, should I give them the company name? No. We ain't gonna get y'all that. STB members, y'all know what company I'm talking about.
STB.
Y'all know what company I'm talking about. But it's a really dope insurance company, and they're gonna make a lot of money for all of us, right? So anyway, but I wanted to, know some ins and outs about it, so we talk about it. And while we were talking, first of all, I'm realizing how smart she is. Like, nothing to take away from her, but I knew she was smart, but I'm talking like next level. She started throwing words at me like fiduciary, and I'm like, oh, like this girl knows something. I like this, right? But not only that, she ended up becoming like, well, she was already kind of like trading stocks, or like she was like dibbling dabbling in the stock market. She knew about it. She was kind of, she had a portfolio. She wanted to know more. And for me, at that time, I had been with, my ex for years. I had been with women before her who were older, and I had never experienced a woman who was so responsible with her money and was like trading stocks or even had a brokerage account. So I was impressed. I'm like, huh.
I'm about get my coins.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, like.
So yeah, he hits me up on some advice about some stuff, especially in my industry. And at that time, we were able to like catch up. Like we were able to do like a big catch up to really see what he had going on, to see what I had going on in business. Very impressed with each other, because that was the first time that we had a verbal conversation besides like just back and forth messages that were very like short, concise. So we really dove into what each other had going on, and it was amazing. I was so proud of his success. He was proud of my success. And at this point, when we were talking earlier that year, I had established my own consulting business because I was ready to move out of the corporate space. And I was also looking for an additional stream of income. And so I knew he was trading the stock market. To his point, I had dabbled in managing my own portfolio, especially for my retirement accounts. And I was interested in pushing even more in that area. So I'm like, yo, like, what do you know? Like, how can I add another stream of income? Because I'm about these coins. And that's when we started talking about his program. And I was very impressed. I was like all in. I'm like, yes, I want to join. I really want to learn this. And it really was a no-brainer. I jumped in, hit the ground running, and really took it seriously, studied my behind off. And he had so much confidence that he's like, I think that you may like be able to coach one day. I can see us, being business partners one day. I can see you coaching one day. And I'm like, really? I'm like, now I really love this, but like, you really see that much? And he's like, yeah. And because I see that you're taking it seriously, like, I want to make sure that the next time we're in Nashville, like, we link so we can dive in even more. So I was really, really excited about that. And it sounds like it's one of those situations where you may have so much game and you have so many people around you that you want to pour into, but people just don't take it seriously. It's like,
That is very true. And
Yeah.
so let me say this. Before we got to the point of her diving in and studying super hard, because she was a friend, I was like, oh, I'll just give you STB. Like, because I'm not used to people taking stuff serious, right? So I'm kind of calling her bluff. I won't lie.
shit test.
It was a shit test is what I call it, right? So I'm like, I'm going to give you the program, and on some real shit, if she did not take the program and study and do what I needed her to do with it and take it seriously, I was done. No more time for me. Because I only mess with people who are serious. Like I really, and when I say mess with people, that's not just like dating. I'm talking about period. Like if you're a guy and you're my friend and I give you the program, James Shaw, get on your ass.
Oh, God.
Right? Y'all know who James Shaw is. I give you the program. If you don't take it serious, I don't want to hear nothing else from you. Like, don't talk to me until you go through that program. So that's kind of how I did James. But not only that, I pretty much put the same stipulations on her. I said, here's a program. I don't want any money from you. You're a friend. I want to see you do well. Here's the program. So fast forward back to what she was talking about. She did take it serious. She impressed me so much so that I had saw how Renee, so y'all see the success Renee had. And by this time, Renee's already like killed it, right? And I'm like, I like women coaches because I saw what Renee was doing with her coaching program. Like I said, she's a millionaire already. So I'm looking at Renee and I'm like, wow, like I think women are better traders.
We lit.
Seriously. So when I saw how well she was coming along, I wanted to like harness that because it's like, okay, being a friend, I really think we could do some business together. Like I want another essentially like teacher inside of STB. We should link up next time I'm in Nashville. And to be 100% totally transparent, that's really all we were doing. We were linking up for business. It did not get, hard-eyed until we saw each other.
Okay, so yes. So mind you, now I know that he keeps alluding to the fact that apparently we had an exchange like around college, even though I it's very fuzzy, my memory. However, from my perspective, mind you, at this point, even though Tay and I had kept up with each other through, social media outlets, I had seen his success. I had seen his growth. I seen his transition. But I had not physically seen him in person since we worked together at 1516. And it's hard to explain, but I tell people it's very different when you see somebody online and then actually see them in person. It's a very different experience. It's kind of like if, people see me in person, they're like, oh my gosh, you're way taller than I expected. So for me, I had not seen Tay in person. And well, from my perspective, again, since we were like 15, 16.
Right.
So, I'm really excited to go to Nashville and link with him and learn more about the stocks and just see my friend, like be able to catch up in person. So we arranged to meet And I remember walking up to where we were gonna meet, and I see this tall chocolate statuesque guy standing outside, and I'm looking like, oh, should this computer bag be an overnight bag? I'm like, is this young Tay? 5'8", 300 pounds? Like, nah.
Yep.
Nah.
6'3" now. She was like,
I mean, I was blown away. I was like, oh, okay. Okay. All right. But, during that time, I know that, mentally, sometimes people are still transitioning when they're coming out of a situation. So I did not want to cloud his judgment, or influence anything. So, I kept it very professional. Even though he was like, we here.
I'm done. It's all over
But-
with, but, and here's the thing. So at this time, I'm already in Puerto Rico, and the way I operate is, and I would suggest a lot of men, you think about this. The way I operate is I want someone as a partner, no matter what, right? And she kind of came off and was like, oh, you've been in a relationship long term. You need to go out there and, get your rocks off and have some fun,
Yeah.
right? And that's not how I move.
Just natural.
Yeah, that's what most men,
Get out in these streets.
most men would probably want that, right? Well, I'm very focused, number one. Number two, everybody can't touch me, right? You can't, everybody can't touch this. So I wasn't in the mindset that, oh, I'm going to go out and soil my royal oats and all this shit. Like, I don't need that. I don't want everybody touching me. I don't want everybody, I go into a sexual encounter and relationships thinking, hey, what is this person's energy like? And the reason why I'm mentioning this is because I need my fellas to understand this. Who you are screwing has an influence on who you're going to become or how things are going to go. The reason why I say this is because I remember before I got with my ex, who I actually married, I was with a woman who was broke. I'll be honest with you, she was broke. And when I say broke, it's not just financially broke, but also broke. And I was doing great. I started messing with her, right? We started messing around, we started having sex. And then that energy, soul ties and all this stuff, that energy lays on you. And I find myself losing money and, shit's going bad. I lost my job. I'm like, this not like me. Like, what the hell's going on? And the only thing I could tie it to was the person's energy who I was with. And I'm thinking to myself, like, this ain't it. So, and this is back at like 21, 22. And I learned that valuable lesson then. And from then on, I knew that I can't mess with, a bunch of women. I need to be very selective in who I mess with. And I need to make sure that I protect myself, right? So fast forward back to when, we're kind of talking now, I'm in Puerto Rico, things are great. And I'm thinking to myself like, I still cherish partnership. Like marriage or divorce didn't ruin me. A lot of men, they'll get a divorce and then they're like, I ain't never getting married again. Like, she got my money and then, the next person's gonna try to get my money. I'm not like that. And the reason why is because I'm a marriage-minded man, right? Because I believe in partnership. So by this time, once again, like, everything has been taken care of. I've been in therapy for like 3 years, throughout the, the divorcing process, because it takes a while, right? And I tell everybody, even when you, and this is for anybody that goes through a divorce, in most cases, when someone goes through a divorce, by the time you hear about it, the divorce has already been going on for probably a year or two. So for me, I had already gone through all of the emotional things. I've already been like gone. I had gone through therapy, everything's washed out. And I realized at that point, I don't need to be out in the streets. So I'm just out looking for my next partner. So when she had said that, I'm like, no, I'm fine. Like, let's explore this, right? Everything is good. Let's explore. So we explore, and we were able, and I will say this, we were able to move faster than the normal person or normal couple because we already knew each other. right?
Yeah.
We had been
The
friends.
trust
Yeah, the trust was there. There was no, what do you call it? Representatives, right? I didn't have to be somebody that I'm not. She didn't have to be someone that she's not.
We too old for that.
Yeah, we too old.
Take it or leave it.
Yeah, we got goals. We don't have time, like, especially me. I didn't have time at this point to be, trying to keep up with lies and keep up with who I told you I was and, all of this other stuff. Like, no, here's me. Here's what I got going on. Let's get it, right? You like it or not. So yeah, we went through and, we kind of dated for a while without, putting a title on it. And
Yeah, I loved how we explored our situation because it was very organic. We didn't really want to put titles or parameters on things. We knew that we were good at business.
Right.
We respected each other's business. We wanted to be involved with each other's business. We knew that we could fill in the gaps for each other's business. So that piece already worked. As far as the relationship piece, we just, again, let it happen organically and flow how it needed to flow. And I mean, it did. It did exactly that. And I felt like I was developing a relationship with my best friend. Like, everything was so natural and fluid, and I really, really grew to love him. Like, beyond what I ever thought in a very short amount of time.
absolutely. And at this time, so we're both Capricorns, right?
Woo!
And let me say this. Granted, we're adults. We ain't got time to play around. We don't need to be worried about, this representative or this. No. We were upfront about everything. However, Capricorns, we are very, like, what you here for?
We're protective.
We're protective of our
space.
space, right?
Yeah.
So even though she had been a really good friend, I had been a really good friend, like, we had that history, both of us still kind of had like this.
We had some walls up.
Yeah, we were kind of like protective. And
Yeah.
it's, and it's totally like everybody's going to be like that. But Capricorns, I think, just have a little bit more.
Special.
Because we're so loyal. And this is why I say
Yeah.
this. We're very loyal. So before we open up the loyalty box, we need to make sure it's the right person we're being loyal to, essentially. So we're, going through the motions and everything, but still have that little piece of wall up. And then that's when this story kind of comes into play.
Oh my gosh, yes. So, okay, so there were a couple of incidences that honestly we had nothing to do with. So many people ask, how did this over 15-year friendship blossom into this power couple? And I will honestly say that, like, the ancestors
Yeah.
had to do with us coming together the way we did and validating, like, the union, because we only did the initial piece. Like, they sealed the deal, and to the point where, like, it was creepy, like chills on your skin type stuff. So after we had basically said, you know what,
Let's give it a try. Let's do this.
let's give it a try.
Yeah.
Let's
do this.
get in a relationship officially and, see how this goes. And everything essentially was great. But again, we still had somewhat of walls up that, only time would kind of chisel down, which is completely normal. Now, we were meeting in Nashville.
We met in Nashville. She flew up from where she was living. I flew up from Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
I actually came to check on my grandma. That's what it was.
Yes.
I came to check on my
Came to check on
grandma
grandma.
because she's pretty much all the family I have left, other than my little brother. That's not fucking crazy, and just bad, for family. So I come to check on my grandma, make sure she's okay. This is a time where I'm really taking family like super, serious, super crucial to me. So I come up, we're hanging out, and I was like, hey, just meet me in Nashville, because we're still not like in the same city. Yeah.
Yeah.
So she meets me here, and we go out to eat.
Well, no. Back up. So we actually came to Nashville, and he definitely wanted to check on his grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
And since I was coming in too, I'm like, well, let's make it a family trip.
That's right. Yep.
So I'm like, I want to spend time with my mom. You spend time with grandma, and I also want to see his grandmother because I had not seen his grandmother since we worked together. So I'm like, it'll be nice to see her. And at that time, since we were like seriously dating, we were like, well, should we have them, all come together? Should we have like dinner with all of them, or should we separately do it? So we just made an executive decision that we would separately spend time with them, so we wouldn't, kind of be mixing families just yet.
Right.
And so that's exactly what we did. The first night, we were like, okay, we're gonna spend time with grandma first, and then we'll do dinner with moms the second night. So we had a really nice dinner with grandmother. I was so excited to see her after so many years. Oh my gosh, she's so sweet, so amazing. And we had a really good time. We had a really good dinner. I got to talk a little bit about my family, and I love the fact that, I spoke of my mom and my grandmother who passed a few years back and how close they were. And his grandmother was talking about how close she was with his mom, who unfortunately passed a couple of years back. So we had just a lot of stuff in common, and it was just good to rekindle like those old friendships and reminisce on when we worked together. And so that was like super, super cool. So the next night, of course, it's mom's time. So we take moms out for dinner. Yep. So it's me, Tay, and moms. And let me just say this. For some reason, like, we worked with a lot of people at AJ Wright, but I honestly can only remember Tay, Ed, and Tay's grandmother. Like, those are the only people I remember working with us. Yep. And my mom apparently remembers more than that. So my mom kept asking, do you remember this lady that y'all used to work with named Miss Barbara? And I'm like, I don't remember anybody named Miss Barbara. I just remember Tay, Ed, and Tay's grandmother. And my mom was like, Tay's grandmother worked with y'all? And I'm like, yeah, but I don't remember anybody named Miss Barbara. She was like, I did not know Tay's grandmother worked with y'all. But anyway, ask Tay if he knows this lady named Miss Barbara who used to work with you guys. And I'm like, okay, whatever. Of course, I didn't ask, right? Because I'm like, he ain't gonna remember that. Mm-mm. So anyway, back to the story. We have dinner with moms, and that goes great as well. Mm-hmm. We talk about everything at dinner. And then as we're like wrapping up, I want to say like the last 10 minutes before we even leave, my mom out of nowhere is like, hey, let me ask you something. Do you remember this lady who used to work with y'all named Miss Barbara? And then she says her last name too. And then
I'm like, my grandma? And she's like, that's your grandma?
And I'm like, wait, that's your grandma? I'm like, wait, your grandma's name is Barbara? Yeah. So crazy. Clearly stuff was flying over everybody's head because I didn't know that Tay's grandmother's name was Miss Barbara. My mom did not know that the Barbara that she was referring to was Tay's grandmother. So at this point, we're sitting here like, wait, hold on. So how do you know Miss Barbara? How do you know Tay's grandmother? And so my mom is like, I know your family. She's like, your grandmother and my mom used to work together at Tennessee State University, and they were like best friends. And I was like, what? And so much stuff starts surfacing. She's like, yeah, your grandmother knows her dad. I think your grandmother, babysat Felicia when she was younger. And it just starts getting creepy to the point where I'm like, hold on, Ma, wait. We're not kin, are we?
Right. Like, seriously.
So no, luckily we are not kin. But my mom was like, call your grandmother, text your grandmother, and ask, like, does she know me and does she know my mom?
So I text my grandma. I'm like, you know, Felicia's grandma, Miss Doris. Well, I text on the way out. Like, we're kind of like leaving the restaurant on the way back to where we were staying at the time because we didn't buy this place yet. And we park where we were staying. It was like a little Airbnb. We get there and my grandma has flooded my text messages. She's like, oh my God, yes, we were friends for like over a decade, and da da da, da da da. She's like, this happened, and that was the first place we went when you were born. Like, we went over her house, and I used to babysit Felicia, and da 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 da. And the last message she dropped on me, and we both said y'all would get together one day.
Oh my gosh.
Let me tell you something. I was parked at the Airbnb. I just let the seat back and I just sat there for
when we got
just
back
looked at
from
each other.
dinner,
It was like,
yeah, we actually didn't even go inside the house. We just sat in the
like the
driveway.
Yeah, the driveway. Mm-hmm.
For like an hour, just like, wait, what just happened tonight?
Crazy. So now, those walls we were talking about that were up, they're starting to break down because now I'm a very spiritual person and I listen to the ancestors, right? So I'm starting to notice the ancestors like, no, that's it. Go that way. So now I'm just kind of like, wow, like I can't not go this way now. Like, this is who I'm supposed to be with. So at that point, like, nothing else has my attention. Like, literally, I'm just focused on her. And time goes by.
And I'm sure y'all are like, okay, what
does that have to do with this?
Does that have to do with the darn? Get to the picture. Get to the picture. Okay, so fast forward, we were back in Puerto Rico.
Okay, so I want to say this first. Before you get started on that. So now the walls have come down. And remember I told you, I'm very family oriented. I wanted a partner, someone who was willing to work with me and knock this thing out. So the trust is there. The walls are knocked down. We both understand that, okay, this is divine. This is bigger than just physical attraction, or this is divine. So at that point, I'm like, hey, quit your job. Granted, she's making multiple six figures a year in the tech industry. I'm like, quit your job. Come move to Puerto Rico with me, and I got everything. We'll build a business together. Like, we'll do this thing as a family. And she's like, okay. Like, literally. And it made me love her so much more because I had never experienced a woman trust me like that. Ever. And it's not that I was doing anything different. Like, I wasn't doing anything different. It just came to the point that it was a her thing and that she was confident in herself and in me. She trusted me so much to say, yeah, okay. She quit her multiple six-figure job in the tech industry, moved from her place to Puerto Rico, and was like, so what are we doing? And this didn't take a long time. This was like...
No, it did not.
Like, it was super quick.
For me, it was a no-brainer because, I know he's saying, or being modest, saying, I really wasn't doing anything different. No, he was doing a lot of things different. He was the youngest, most mature guy that I had talked to, which I was blown away. He also was making moves and saying he was going to make moves and doing it. He was doing exactly what he was saying, and that matched my energy. I had never come across someone who was so consistent. And that made me build my trust and loyalty in him even more. I could trust that not only would he be a good life partner, but also a good business partner. Mm-hmm. And in my mind, if I already was transitioning out of corporate, I'm making companies millions, multi-millions of dollars building their company up, and running their company, then why in the world would I not come over and help him run an empire, and we run together? There were, again, as I said earlier, a lot of gaps we were able to fill in for each other. And so I wanted to be able to bless him with my talents to make, his vision boom even more, and vice versa. And we were just on the same page. We had the same vision, in the same trajectory to be able to build this empire, and why not do it together? And so for me, like the vision made sense for the both of us. And I think we knew that it was mutually beneficial. So I was willing to jump in because I understood that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That
Cause
was-
you was doing your thing, and I saw that. So you're not giving yourself enough credit.
But I say that because when I say I wasn't doing anything different, it wasn't necessarily because I don't compare myself to other men much, because I'm in my own lane. I just focus on what I have going on. So I guess I am doing something a lot different than most men. But for me, when she says I'm consistent, it's like I've been doing this my whole life. This is just all I know. So I just felt that's all I knew. So it's like, okay, I ain't doing nothing different. I've been acting like this, and I've been rich for years. Like I was rich, 26. I think it's when I made my first $1 million year. So I'm like, I've been doing this thing for years. I've been consistent for years. But I had never experienced, even though I was that consistent, I had never experienced a woman who could still trust me so much to say, oh yeah, I'll quit my job and I'll come over there and we'll build together, right? That was like next level.
And let me say this.
Next level.
Let me say this, because we often talk about that scarcity mindset. People who are afraid to get up and go, even guys or women who are afraid to leave their situation because they feel like it's cheaper to keep her, it's cheaper to keep him. That's a scarcity mindset.
Yes.
If you are afraid to transition to something different because you feel like you're going to lose everything that you built, that means that you do not have confidence that you can rebuild more.
Facts.
I always know that with or without him, and he knows that with or without me, we can always rebuild more. But we knew that we could build so much more together. But because we didn't have that scarcity mindset, we were able to be all in quicker than most people who do have the scarcity mindset.
Absolutely.
You got to get out of that.
Yep, absolutely. So, yeah, I'm blown away now. And let me tell you something, ladies, this is something I feel that could help a lot of women out there, especially like my professional go get it women. It's something when you have a man, first of all, you're responsible for the mate you pick. Because ladies, y'all do the picking. I know y'all think like, man, come and I want you. And that ain't how it works. We can want you all day, but if you don't want us, it ain't happening, right? So women, y'all do the picking. So what I want to say is, if you have picked a man, you need to make sure that was the right pick. So when it's time to trust that man, when it's time to love that man, when it's time to do whatever for that man, you take accountability and go, no, like, this is who I picked. So clearly, like, I trust him, whatever it is, like, we build together, whatever, right? And I'm saying this because when that happens, the man that you picked, if he's a pretty decent man, he ain't even gotta be great. If he's a pretty decent man, he's gonna reciprocate the love you give him. And the reason why I'm saying is because when I saw how much she loved me and how much she was willing to like trust me and like go in and just kind of like leave it all behind. Like, yeah, this is my life, but I'm coming over here with you to start a life with us, right? And I know a lot of women, I'm speaking to my women, especially my professional women, because I know a lot of you all, the first thing you think is, you know how long it took me to build this? I'm not quitting this for you. You know, this is my dream. I'm not leaving this job for you. She was like, whatever, let's go. So I didn't take that lightly, is what I'm trying to say. And women, ladies, when you have a man who you do stuff, I'm not telling you just gotta go quit your job, but when you do things like that, that shows a man that you love him and that you trust him, he'll go even harder for you. I'm telling you. Because when she showed me that, I was like, oh, I gotta really take care of her. Like I really like I'm gonna make sure when she get down to Puerto Rico, it's lit. So, you know, I'm gonna brag on myself a little bit too. Soon as she got down there, she had been there before, so she knew what it looked like. But it was a 3-bedroom. So for me, I'm like, I gotta do something special for her, right? I take one of the bedrooms and I turn it into a nice boutique closet.
It was so amazing.
And
It was worth the move. I love it.
right? But that's that reciprocity that I'm talking about. It's for me when I see someone who loves me and trusts me so much, like I go hard, right? So that was one of my things. Like I'm gonna make sure everything's good. You get here, you ain't gotta lift a finger. We gonna build this business, right? So that's how that got to Puerto Rico, and so now we're living in Puerto Rico together. We're having friends come down, et cetera, et cetera.
Actually, no. He leaving out stuff.
Okay. You know, go ahead, do your thing. Do your thing.
Actually, I want to say even before I moved down there, this is when you were still having some of your stuff shipped to Puerto Rico.
Yes.
There was a box that he received that was a box that had been gifted from his grandmother. That was a box of like hundreds of family photos and baby photos that actually were originally in his mom's house, and his grandmother got them for him when his mother passed. And so this is the box that came in. And of course, when it came in, I'm like, oh my gosh, I love photos. We gotta go through the pictures, especially your baby pictures. So we are going through this entire box. It's like, photos of his grandmother, his mom, other family members, baby photos of him and his brother. We definitely got a kick out of the baby photos. But as we were wrapping up, looking at everything, I wanted to at least put a couple of photos on the mantle that we had in Puerto Rico. And so I wanted to have a picture of his mom. So we got a picture of his mom. I wanted to get a picture of him and his mom. And then I wanted to get at least one baby picture. And I don't know what it was about this baby picture in particular, but I was like, oh my gosh, he is the cutest. Let's keep this baby picture out. And of course, it's already in the frame, so I'm like, we can just easily set it on the mantle. But it was like my favorite baby picture out of all the baby pictures, right? So we took this one out. We sat it on the mantle with the other pictures of his mom and left it at that.
Yeah. So
So I think two.
It's like 2 months.
2 months
go
went by?
Yeah. And we have some friends that were down there, and they have a baby. And basically, you know, we're playing with it's a little boy, and we're playing with him. He's maybe a year old, and he kind of looks like that age, right? That I am in that picture. So she's like, oh, like, I wonder if you were the same age. Like, how old were you in that picture?
Yeah,
So
I'm like holding the baby, and I don't know what, like, literally, I don't know what made me look over as I was holding this adorable baby. But I'm like, Tay, how old were you in that picture?
that was the ancestors.
Yeah, and he's like, I don't know. Let me go look.
Cause my mom usually like writes the name and the, you know, black family, you write the name and the age on the back of the picture, right? That's kind of like a thing. I don't know if it's a we thing, but I do know we do that a lot. So I go look at the picture, and
Let me fix it.
yeah, so
how it
it's
was
like this.
originally.
So I take it out. You ain't gotta put it in there.
Okay.
Cause I want to show this. So I take it out, right? And I see, oh, my little brother is on the back. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I feel that it's kind of thick. I'm like, those are thick pictures. Maybe I'm not used to, pictures. So I turn and I look and I'm like, damn, she didn't write my name on the back, or she didn't write anything. So I noticed that this picture is thick. The picture of my brother is thick, right? Now, this picture here is stuck to my brother's picture like this, right? So it looks like this. So when I see, and I go, okay, well, if she didn't write on mine, maybe she wrote on my brother's picture, on the back of his picture. So I look, and it says, Felicia 6 months old. I'm like, that's my brother. I'm like, that ain't no Felicia. But this is her real name. So I'm like, what the hell is going on?
And he's being nice because it literally on the back of this photo, you know, I can't have y'all looking up my entire name. Some of y'all crazy out there.
Facts.
But it legit
It's her whole
has
name.
my first, middle, last name, the age that I was at the time, and my birth year.
Yes.
On the back of this photo. Okay.
So I see that. And granted, you know, I know her full name and her birthday. So I'm like, this is you, but this is my brother. So now I'm thinking like, and keep in mind, these are like decades old. So they're
like
stuck
matted.
together.
You can tell they've been stuck together for like decades.
So I'm like, okay, this gotta be something else in here. So I peel it, and then I peel it off, and I look, and I go, that's you. You've been in here for over 20 plus years.
Crazy.
What the hell?
When he okay, so this was actually the freakiest discovery that we had. Like to the point where when we first saw it, I think we spent at least 10 minutes trying to figure out how this photo could have floated in the back here. We were like, well, maybe when I was moving, like I somehow didn't remember that I brought my baby photo down and I stuck it in here. No, like we couldn't explain away the fact that one, these photos had been matted together, like they had to have been stuck together for years and years and years.
Yep.
Two, if you can't see it on the camera, but if you look at the markings on each of our photos, they literally have like the same little markings indicating that it was literally around the same time frame. So they had to have basically come from the same place. So there was no denying this situation. That is freaky.
Yeah.
And the fact that I was 6 months old on this picture means that this picture was probably gifted to your grandmother or your mother before you were born.
Yes. Crazy.
Chills.
Yeah.
Chills.
Yeah. So at this point now, we're like, okay, we're sitting in the house and we're like, this shit is crazy.
Like, I've been with you for all these years.
Yeah. Like,
I'm just glad it happened the way it did, because I'm gonna be honest with you, if we were not talking and he hit me up like, yo, I got your baby photo and we didn't know about like the grandmother story or anything like that, I would have been like, I may or may not have a stalker on my hands.
yes.
But luckily, everything played out the way it did. I will say I'm still freaked out by the fact that how in the world, out of a box of all of your family photos and baby pictures, I said, oh my gosh, I love this one specifically to sat on the mantle. And then for it to sit on the mantle for a few months and for the trigger for me to even ask about it, for us to explore it deeper, be, you know, an adorable baby, for you to go over and then legit discover that the random photo that we chose is the one that had like the hidden pictures in there that just so happened to be me. We've been stuck together for decades.
We've been stuck together for decades. So, you know, I really felt like,
Woo.
one, this had to be, you know, we had to tell y'all this because that's a story that, like, I don't know, maybe one day I just might put some money behind it and make a movie out of it. Because that, I'm sorry, I was freaked out.
Yeah, you can't make this up.
But I'm a very spiritual person, so I follow my gut. I follow, you know, my instincts. And I know the ancestors are always pushing me one way or another, and they were pushing me to her. So
yes, so
yeah.
Grandma Barb, Grandma Doris, we thank you guys for creating this narrative and putting us together. You know, I know a lot of people are looking at us like this, you know, power couple that randomly got together, but no, I indeed feel
We've been
like
together.
this was written in the stars. This is something that like we could not have made up. And I'm thankful every single day to have explored this friendship even further, and I'm so looking forward to continuing to build this empire with the love of my life.
Likewise, boo.
Love you, Daddy.
Love you too. So yeah, family, we're gonna go on and get out of here. But that's our story. You're gonna be seeing a lot more from this beautiful young thing because we are a team. And hey, y'all keep tapped in, study that market. Let's keep making this money.
All right.